Now that the public fury over the AIG bonuses has died down a little, I feel like I can finally come out here and say what I'm thinking without the risk of being beheaded by the mob or getting more than the usual modicum of death threats. I understand that people are justifiably outraged about these bonuses, although many of them actually went to normal, hardworking employees who had nothing to do with the collapse of the Western financial world. And for a lot of them, the word bonus is kind of misleading, as this money is really just part of what most people would think of as normal compensation. But I don't really care about the AIG bonuses or even the legislation the House passed to expropriate them without due process of law, something that sure looked to me like an unconstitutional bill of attainder. But what I know, just a guy who went to law school. Now, what confuses me is how everybody picked right now, this AIG bonus issue right now, as the moment to start whipping out the class war rhetoric. Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with a good bit of class conflict every now and then. It's something my great-great-granduncle Vladimir Lenin would be proud of. I just want to know, where the heck were all you people who are so angry about Wall Street bonuses? Where were you over the last 8 years? Did none of you notice that we were living under a laissez-faire, radical, right-wing Republican government? Where was the outrage when the Bush administration, which believed in unlimited tax cuts for the rich as the panacea for everything, was still in power? You know, George W. Bush, who wanted to let business self-regulate? And we saw some of that. Remember him? All these newly minted class warriors seem like they came a little late to the party, at least from where I'm standing. And this is not a case of better late than never. Seriously, where the heck was the anger as executives padded their paychecks for years under Bush while ordinary people saw their real wages stagnate? And now AIG's the villain? What about the people in the Bush administration who spent 8 years dismantling or failing to enforce the rules and regulations that kept the playing field for you in stocks level? These are the people who condone naked shorting, which we know wiped out a lot of financial companies. These are the people who got rid of the uptick rule to favor short sellers over your 401k. These were the people who gave rich hedge fund managers preferential tax treatment. Apparently, they don't earn income like the rest of us. They get capital gains. That's a stunt I never pulled off when I was in business. I'm sorry. You don't get to be angry after the fact. We were complacent. We did nothing. And now we're surprised that the rich folks who seem to have screwed everything up want to enrich themselves at the expense of the taxpayer. Hello? Welcome to the 21st century. Where you been? All of this stuff was going on. In fact, it was worse while Bush was in charge, albeit somewhat less transparently. But we don't blame the policymakers who let everything fall apart. Nope. It's time to just go after the rich bankers and the media. Perhaps the craziest thing about all this, to my mind at least, is that now we got a left-wing president, Barack Obama, a Congress that's dominated by the Democratic Party, and a budget that really looks like the average class warrior's wish list. Class war over. The proletariat won this round. Maybe nobody got the memo. Now the class warriors are out in force. Over what? Bonuses? Can't they do a little better than that? Worst of all, they've got Congress, or at least the House, scared witless, willing to pass anything to appease the angry proletarian mob. In fact, Congress has become the epicenter of the class war. The same Congress that did nothing and let this mess happen. I mean, come on. Congress's job is just to sit around and hold hearings all day. They probably should have had some hearings about everything that was going wrong before we came close to financial Armageddon. And maybe, I don't know, some of the worst problems could have been avoided. Instead, our brilliant legislators are only now trying to figure out everything that happened over the last few years in the nation they're supposed to be watching over. All, of course, in response to enraged voters. Ultimately, and I know I'm going to get torn to shreds for making this statement, all this is why democracy kind of stinks, although it stinks less than the other forms of government. Instead of getting mad when the bad guys are in control and setting us up for a fall, the class warriors only come out after the damage has already been done and force our legislators to focus on stupid, tangential issues when we've got much bigger things to worry about. I'm a moderate. My head writer, amanuensis, and nephew, Cliff Mason, said on his unbelievably great that you must read every night Millennial Money blog at CNBC.com that he wants a benevolent dictatorship to stop this nonsense. I just want a class war truce as we try to get this country moving again. Mad Money's back after the break.